It's finally here, the start of the 2023-24 season as the playoffs gets going. The Edmonton Oilers taking on the LA Kings. Game 1 tonight down at Rogers Place. This is the Oil Stream Matt Iwanyk. Tom Gazzola here with the pom-pom. You cheered for the Oilers tonight, Tommy? You got the pom-poms so you can cheer on the Oilers?
I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that the pom-poms are there because I put out a video when the team was on the ice for morning's optional skate. They're like, no, pom-poms this year. That's ridiculous. The pom-poms were shortly after that put out. So, yes, the pom-poms will be...
So they answered to the anger of your tweet. That's what it was.
Exactly. Now, these pom-poms, they will be used proudly, I'm sure, all game long. And then you know what's going to happen, Matthew? You and I, in our lovely downtown community, are going to see them all over the street and sidewalks for the next week.
That's just want to start with complaining as we start playoffs here?
No.
It's a great time.
I'm in a good mood. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It's like I said to start. This is the actual start of the season for the Oilers, and this is what we're all waiting for. It's beautiful weather. We've got hockey back. Well, playoff hockey at least, and it's how could it be much better?
It's awesome. This is the best. This is what we've been waiting for all year long, and it's finally here. Very, very business-like today in the Oilers locker room. I like that. If you're looking at it from an Oilers perspective, which we are obviously, I thought that the demeanor in the room today was really good, and so we'll see how things go. I think Kings too, like both teams, it's just like, oh, here we go again. I guess they're facing each other, so it's going to be a lot of fun and business-like approach. Good vibe. There's some good energy in the building, and then that's only going to get cranked up to about 100,000. When everybody floods into Rogers Place and we're watching the game. So can't wait.
We will talk a lot about this game coming up here on the Oil Stream today. We also have our EST flyaway keyword. It is, as I just said just a few minutes ago, for those that were listening and for those that just tuned in, I will now tell you. We're giving this away on Friday. So you got the Oil Stream today to get it in. Otherwise, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's it. 4 chances each of those days. We're down to our final 13 qualifying opportunities. So stay tuned for that. Around 12:40 or so, we'll do that. Also, with CoolBet, ride with Edmonton Sports Talk all playoffs long at CoolBet. Watch for the EST parlays. Every game only at CoolBet.com. Dusty's not here. So I'm going to build the parlay today. I'm going to throw out what I have as an idea for an EST parlay for today's game. Later in the show, I'll throw it out there to all the nasties. I want a little bit of your help to see if we could really build this EST parlay for Game 1 Oilers-Kings for something that is something that you would want to jump on. So we'll do that here on the Oil Stream as well. We're live on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, as well as those watching on YouTube. We're in the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. Well, I'm in the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio. You're down at Rogers Place, Tommy. And let's now just, you talked about the demeanor of the team in the room. Optional skate today. Were you surprised? There was a lot of players that were on the ice for the optional skate. Did that surprise you at all, or what did you make of optional skate today?
At first you're like, oh, wow, yeah, a lot of players, because usually you only get a handful, but I think there was like 10 or 11 players on the ice. For the optional, guys who usually take the optional are the ones that we know are either like working their way back from injury or probably not in the lineup or want to go for a quick twirl and feel the puck a little bit. And today there was a couple of regulars that were there. Darnell Nurse, I know, likes to take the optional skate. He was out there. Evan Bouchard went out there for a quick skate. And then, like the Gagnes Holloway was out there. Connor Brown was out there. Vinny Desharnais, and so it was, I think, just more so guys trying to get mentally focused, just in case, A, some of them are going to be playing, obviously, and B, there's the guys that might be called upon, because we did hear Chris Knobloch say that they're going to have a few extra guys take warm-up tonight, just in case a Janmark isn't good to go, or a Kane isn't good to go, so it's just making sure everybody's, prepared, all hands on deck type of thing, and proper preparation prevents poor performance, and I think that's kind of the mantra that we saw with an influx of guys that maybe don't always take the morning skate, hopping out there for a quick tour.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman had the expected lineup for the game tonight. He has McDavid in between Henry, Hyman, Draisaitl between Nugent-Fogel, McLeod centering Holloway, Perry, Carrick in between Kane and Janmark, Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Ceci, Kulak, Desharnais, and Skinner obviously getting the start. Yep. Holloway getting into the lineup. The right move for this team?
I don't think it's a bad move. I didn't now if Kane and Janmark and these guys weren't nicked up. I think, Cass and I talked about it, even myself and Sean Bell talked about it, maybe he's not playing, but he's done everything he possibly could to force the coaching staff's hand, and that's great. I mean, he's been good in the 6 games he's been here since his call-up from Bakersfield, so he's creating a good problem. We'll see how he handles the postseason. I know he's not new to NHL playoff hockey, but good on him. And they could use his energy. He can play physical. He has offensive ability. He's probably feeling very good about his game, as he should. So, no, it's not it is a good move, and it is not a detriment to anyone else. It's just he's worked his ass off, and it's paying off. And there are some guys that are nicked up. So you go with what you feel is the best lineup you could put forward, and it comes at a cost for Connor Brown and Derek Ryan. So be it.
Okay, let's get into Evander Kane here. Yesterday comes out, he's got the sports hernia. He's been dealing with it all year. A lot of people up in arms over the Oilers' handling of this. I'm not going into the Kane LTIR with you again today. We did that last week, but we dealt with that from 2 years ago. Not there.
What happened?
What do you think is the likelihood that he misses any games over the next, I guess for this opening round? Because he threw cold water on the idea, or like he made it clear that there's a chance he might not go tonight.
I think he's messing around. I don't think the gamesmanship. I think he's trying to play mind games, and he likes to toy with the media. He's going to play. He's been grinding it out for the last couple of months or whatever. And I've talked about it on Oil Stream, and I've said it on other shows that on our station. It's like, hey, he's nicked up, and so. This was strategic. Saying, "Oh, we'll see if I'm good to go." Like that's him just playing with the media. He enjoys that element of being a pro hockey player. I'm sure he feels quite good about his ability to stir it up publicly, and that's kind of what I took from it. And you know what? Interesting tactic by him to reveal his injury. Maybe it gets people off his back a little bit because maybe he was starting to get annoyed by people questioning why he hasn't been the Evander Kane we know that he can be. So good on him for going at it with that tactic. Now, do I like it or agree with that? At this point, I don't care. So I think he's going to battle through it, and he'll grind it out, Matty. And hopefully we're seeing as close to a healthy Evander Kane as we possibly can, even though he's dealing with this hernia.
I really hope it's not what you said second there, where it's maybe he's just been hearing everyone talk about his poor play and he's getting that out there. Because now it just sounds like, to me, if that's the case, he's just putting out the excuse if he has a poor playoffs.
I wasn't going to use that word.
Again, that's what that sounds like to me then. Like, I hope it's the gamesmanship part. I think if anything, and if seeing Evander Kane from a distance, I would say it's a lot more likely that it's going to be something like that to try to mess with the LA Kings. But if it's the situation of, I'm not playing well, everyone's ripping me. Well, I got a sports hernia. I'm hurt. It's like right now, I'm not going to lie. I've done it a few extra concussion that we're having right now, and he's taking it out. But no, like that's where like I really hope this isn't him just laying the groundwork for excuse that if he has a poor playoff season, see, told you, I was hurt.
Yeah, I thought about that, and I think that's natural to think that maybe that's the rationale. I feel like, this is my theory on it, he's doing him into an underdog role where now he could go in and think that and feel like, I'm going to show them. I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to tell them I'm hurt, but then I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be a beast. So maybe that's what we're going to see from Evander Kane. I don't know if that's part of his strategy, but I could see him kind of looking at it like that.
You were at the Chris Knobloch press conference. I know I was talking about this hangout with Murray and Will today. I know Jay Woodcroft at this time of year especially, he played games, or he was trying gamesmanship, all of that. You could throw it out there. He was doing various different things that were just sometimes a little weird.
We're going to see who's coming out of the gate today.
How was Chris Knobloch in his first press conference going into a playoffs?
Very similar to Chris Knobloch in the regular season. He just said, I don't think it's a good idea to talk about injuries. I'm going to leave that alone. I think we're going to not talk about that. I appreciate it, but I think, like, obviously teams get tighter about information this time of year because they don't want to lose any type of competitive edge. And, Knobloch obviously is very much of that same mindset, but just how he goes about handling it, where Jay Woodcroft had his way about him, his tactic, and he liked to mess with the media and say things without saying anything or not say something by having a long answer. Chris Knobloch's just straight up like, all right, I don't think it's best to talk about it. I'll let the medical team handle it. We're going to have a couple extra guys who warm up. Then we'll see how they're feeling. Like, thank you. Okay, sounds good. There's no ambiguity to it. Nobody's complaining. Nobody from visiting media or national media is going, is that guy really like that all the time? It's just like, okay, well, he answered it and he was honest and upfront, and we'll see what happens when they declare the lineup right before the start of the game. So it was very standard and very much the same Chris Knobloch that we saw in the regular season today in his first media availability as the postseason gets going for the Oilers.
What's the biggest worry the Oilers have of this LA Kings team? Is there a worry that the Edmonton Oilers should have of this LA Kings team?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if I was the Oilers, I'd worry about complacency. I'd be worried about the Kings, very much wanting to enact some vengeance on them after the last two playoffs where Edmonton won those series. LA probably feels like it has better depth now. Probably feels that it can kind of match up better with 3 to 4 lines than in years past with the Oilers. But at the same time, if Edmonton is able to get to LA early, then maybe the Kings have a little bit of self-doubt and it starts to sink into their minds like, here we go again. But the Oilers should be on edge. This is the postseason. Anybody can beat anybody. We watched a bunch of incredible games yesterday. Like, look what happened with Colorado and Winnipeg. That was nuts. So there should be some nervous energy. But as you know, Matty, like, there's a good kind of nervous energy to have. And I think the Oilers have been through these scenarios before. They've been in the playoffs, 5 years in a row? And you use it, harness it, and be very respectful towards your opponent. But at the same time, know that you do have the better team, and there's a reason why people are picking you to win this series. Don't rest on those laurels because that'll get them into trouble. But play with that nervous energy. Use it to give you a bit of an edge and an advantage.
Yeah, it's like because I think this could be a very short series if the Oilers show up. Like, the question I'm going to have is partly it's going to be on Stuart Skinner. Like, He's had a great year. Last year, I will say this, like, it was his first year as an NHL goalie in the playoffs. So there's going to be some learning curve. There's going to be some stumbles and stuff, and we saw that last year. I'm expecting he gets better this year. I'm expecting the improvement and development. He had a really good regular season after the first start of the season where no one had a good start of the season for the Edmonton Oilers, but it's not playoff hockey. And I need to see that he could be able to do it in playoff hockey, and that's going to be the big X factor here. So I want to be able to see if Stuart Skinner, like, it's 2-1 Oilers, 15 minutes left in the third period. I think that was the exact example Will had earlier today. Can he shut it down? That power play comes. Yeah. Is he going to be the best penalty killer for the team in that moment? Is he going to stop the puck and make that save when it matters the most in the game? Because if he does that, at the very least, for this round, I just don't see how the LA Kings can beat the Edmonton Oilers then.
Yeah. I feel like there's a very strong possibility that his .368 goals against average and .883 save percentage in the postseason, those numbers are going to improve if they don't look out, because we could be talking about Calvin Pickard playing some games. By the way, Matty, that's another thing too, is it was asked of Chris Knobloch if there was a plan to look at playing Pickard at all. It was interesting that was asked, but he just said no. Stuart Skinner's our guy, and obviously, right? But if they need to throw Pickard in there because it's not going well with Skinner and he's playing like 2023 Stu Skinner in the playoffs with that .883 and .368 GAA, then yeah, we could see Calvin Pickard. But I feel like watching Stu Skinner mature, grow up as a first of all, a person, and then as an NHL goaltender, he seems to practice what he preaches, and that's learning from his mistakes and being better after he messes up. And he's done that throughout the course of this year, his second full NHL season. And you would think that mantra would carry into the postseason, and that in this playoffs, he's going to be much better than Stu Skinner from last year. And here's an interesting thing, too, because we could be, of course, Skinner's going to play. Yeah, I know. But look at what the Golden Knights are doing. They're starting Logan Thompson tonight. That's not their number one guy, Matty. So, it's interesting. Like, it's just, hey, double checking. Stu Skinner, he's your guy. And Chris Knoblauch has said he is their go-to. There's no plan to play Calvin Pickard unless the scenario dictates that they need to. So it was a conversation that came up today in the coach's availability, which was interesting.
Vegas is in a much different spot, though, with Adin Hill, who, since his return to injury, just hasn't looked good.
Right.
If I'm just looking here quickly if I could do this. It's not working as well as I want. I'm trying to see just like since March what Thompson's and Adin Hill's save percentage was. No, it doesn't want to give me that quick thing here. But like the last few games for Adin Hill, 864, 875, 800, 923, 800, 917, 867, 885 save percentage. Hasn't been there. Whereas Thompson, 957, 926, 867, 806, 970, 975. He gives you the best chance to win at this moment.
Right.
Calvin Pickard doesn't give you the best chance to win at this moment for the Edmonton Oilers.
No.
And there is no reason for Chris Knoblauch to plan to play Calvin Pickard. There's only two reasons that he was going to go in the net. Skinner has absolutely been awful through a few games. And even then, I don't even know if they would go to Pickard. And two, there's an injury, which you hope doesn't happen, knocking on wood. There's no other reason that you're going to try to squeeze Calvin Pickard into a game if you're the Edmonton Oilers.
No need. And by the way, people ask you about Ryan Fanti because of his emergency backup. It sounds like he's going to be the E-bug.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the American Hockey League is still playing, playoffs is still going on down there.
Right.
But you get to upgrade an E-bug worst case scenario if you need one.
Yeah, exactly. I know there's a few people asking about that, and that's our understanding. So, yeah, you're right. The Condors get going. I believe it is tomorrow for their first game of the playoffs.
Is it tomorrow?
I think so. I think that's what Keith Gretzky was telling me. I was trying to pay attention, but lots was going on when he was talking. So, yeah, that's the situation with Fanti. And but yeah, you're right. Stu Skinner is their guy. As long as he plays better, then I'm not even gonna. This is gonna be a non-issue, and the conversation won't have to be had again.
Quickly, it's just Logan Thompson, 913 save percentage, last 12 games. And then Adin Hill, an 871 save percentage in his last 10 games.
There you go.
And injured in a large stretch of that, though, as well. So that's going to be a fascinating series to watch. GCL Diesel, Oil Stream pre-post game shows. We're on location at Hudson's every game. Tommy and a bunch of us will be at West Edmonton Mall on Bourbon Street for tonight's game. So be sure to join us 6:30 for the pregame show with Tommy, with YTT, with Cass, and Dennis Bernstein, who will be the LA Kings insider throughout the playoffs. He's done it the last 2 years at our old place. He's back with us here at Edmonton Sports Talk. He's in town already?
Oh, he's here. You should see the coat he's wearing today. New one. He's like, Burberry, Tommy, Burberry. And I'm like, looks good. Jack Michaels went up to him. He goes, Dennis, it's not that cold here. Dennis, of course, lives in L.A. He's originally from Brooklyn, I believe it is, or the Bronx, one or the other. And DB, always rocking a flashy coat. He's ready to go. The L.A. media, you know what's funny, Matty, is the L.A. media, through all the years now, 3 in a row where the Oilers and Kings play each other, we've all become very good friends. They're just the nicest people. They're awesome. I saw Daryl Evans. He's wearing a crazy suit today.
Always does.
Arlen Bathe is here. She's great. She was like, Tom, the hair is looking great. I'm like, Carlet, it's just all Swedish hair cream. But DB is our boy, and Nick Nixon's here. Jim Fox. Like, it's like, oh, guys, it's like a reunion. Every year now we're doing this. So it's kind of funny like that.
Portions of this hour of the Oil Stream, they are brought to you by Boston Pizza. The Boston Pizza playoff menu is now available, featuring the halftime square footer, a flight of wings, the triple play platter, and the new Chipotle chicken quesadillas. Fuel your fandom at Boston Pizza. Dusty and Tommy will be at the Boston Pizza May 15th, the North St. Albert location. There's two of them.
Yeah.
The North St. Albert location is where you guys will be at in May for an Oil Stream. We'll be well into a second round of the Edmonton Oilers taking on either the Canucks or the Predators is like honestly prediction. Like how far do you think? Like how many games does this go? How much of a chance do you give the LA Kings against this Oilers?
I think I actually do think it's going to be a quick series. I do think it's Edmonton that's going to win it. I think 5 games.
Yeah.
LA gets a win. Maybe LA continues Edmonton's misery in game 1 to open up series, but Edmonton's got all the pressure on it. They're supposed to be cup contenders. They had a horrific start to the season. They have McDavid and Draisaitl. They have all these veteran guys that are supposed to add to the depth, and so all the pressure really is on the Oilers. But I do think if those little indicators, listening to them talk, and I'm not reading much into the last 5 games of the year from the Oilers, to be honest with you. They had everything wrapped up, but if they get complacent, that's where LA can pounce on them. So they're going to need to be better, but I do think ultimately it's a quick series. So I'll say Edmonton in 5, Maddie. I just think that there seems to be a good thing brewing, and it's up to the team to make it happen on the ice.
Somebody's texted into the Hangout, I think 1-10 in their last 11, I guess, game ones. I don't know if that's 100% accurate because they won the one since 16-17 against, was it the Ducks?
Anaheim, yeah.
And then they had it against the Ducks in 06, and that's been about it. What were you going to say?
I think it was Stoff. Stoff and I were talking, and he mentioned like Edmonton hasn't won a game 1 at home since like 1990. And
well, they've generally been the road team. They've generally also been that road team. Like in those years of the late 90s, early 2000s, they weren't generally home.
Nope. Definitely were not.
Yeah, that one makes a lot of sense to me. I'm not going to lie. Like,
no, they weren't.
It's not that wild. Where was I going with it? So if the Oilers were to lose game 1, do you feel that there'll be any sort of like I'm not saying fans perspective wise, because I know what your post game is going to be like if the Oilers lose
it's going to be a mess.
People are going to be furious. People are going to be mad. This team, they'll never win a cup. Nothing's going to come out of this. That's all going to come just from a loss tonight.
This team's not ready.
Do you think that gets into the players' heads at all, or do you think that it's whatever to them because they've been here, they've done that, and they know that they are generally the better team and should be able to go out there and win a best of 7?
Yeah, I think they'll roll with it. I think they'll feel shame if they lose game 1. I think they'll go about handling it very businesslike, and then I think they'll manage to bounce back if they do happen to lose this game tonight. It's just Zach Hyman was talking about it today. He goes, "We've been through a lot of different scenarios. We know how to handle different situations, whether we're doing well or we're playing poorly, or we're down in a game or we're tied in a game." He's basically talking about the maturity of the team as a whole, and I think that's a valid point that he makes. It's backed up with stats, and but there's times where this team, this year's group, where they've just been horrible, and they don't recover until a game or 2 later. But if they're all gonna, dial it in and focus mentally, I think they should be fine, Maddie. And it feels like, again, everybody's saying the right things going into the first game of the playoffs, but just you kind of pick up on body language and demeanor, and I'm like, it's an exciting day. It's a fun day, this first game of the playoffs, but at the same time, there's a calmness to them that maybe in years past didn't necessarily exist to the extent that it seems to be at right now.
And I'm sure also just they want to get this going. Like we had 3 games last week, but even they just going through the motions. They want to just get to this state. Like for me, I was saying the whole time, regular season doesn't matter. Players aren't going to say that. They have to go play their games. But until that Vancouver game, that's 2 Saturdays ago, there was something to play for. And then after that, it was kind of like, okay, this is nothing. Get me to the real hockey when it matters. Yeah.
It was kind of like taking care of little things here and there, housekeeping stuff, and now it starts. Now it matters. So no excuses. I don't think they're thinking anything about the last week of hockey outside of, hey, yeah, we lost, but I don't think they're banking on what they did or didn't do last week. It's just now it all starts. It starts anew, and it's a fresh start, and away they go.
Okay. Well, we're getting ready for Big game tonight. This is going to be a long, fun run. I think that it's going to come down to a fun playoffs getting set to begin. You watched the other series a little bit over the weekend?
Watched a lot of hockey this weekend, Matty. A lot of hockey. That Jets game yesterday was
It's going to be I keep betting the over, maybe.
I saw people being like, "What happened to Hellebuck?" Both teams have like great offensive firepower, and man, like that was hold on to your butts because that was a hell of a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one thoroughly. The Vancouver game, those quick strikes, Dakota Joshua playing very well. He's kind of really emerged for them. I really enjoyed that game against
That's
the
going to be a tight series. I think for a lot of people, Vancouver was a team that was maybe an upset that they were looking at taking. Nashville showed that they could go out and potentially upset Vancouver in this series.
Totally. I was looking at that game and I'm like, what's up with the Canucks? But then they get those back-to-back goals in the 12-second span. Yep. I'm like, oh, well, look out. Don't sleep on them. And here we are. So, no, that was a lot of great hockey. I'm curious to see how things go for the Maple Leafs tonight, of course. Not such a great start for them on Saturday.
But what's the bounce back? I don't think
a lot of...
Right?
Is it now?
Because
sure.
Bruins come out and roll the same way that they did on Saturday. Does Toronto have it in them to fight back and tie this series with this when it goes back to Toronto? Or are they going to slowly start being mentally checked out, knowing that this just isn't their year? No one was talking about it being their year all year. There's just a bunch of teams that you put ahead of them, and here you go. Boston's up to it. Their response tonight is going to be so fascinating to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't see it. The goaltending's not there. The defense, it's going to be interesting when they lose, Matthew, when the Leafs lose, to see the outcry and don't get me wrong, I'm someone who questioned the Boston Bruins going into the playoffs. I'm like, what are the Boston Bruins? I was saying it on Hello Hockey on Saturday. I'm like 15 OTLs, okay? They went to overtime shootout like 22 or 23 times this season. Like they benefited big time from the loser point, and they actually just went and stomped the Leafs. But the Leafs, their goaltending woes, their back end. I know they have a little bit of injuries that they're dealing with, but I don't know. I don't see it for Toronto.
Yeah, I don't know if though, the Bruins. I think you can still have some of those question marks because I don't know if the Leafs answer those questions necessarily. Can the Bruins go do it against the Panthers or the Hurricanes or the Rangers? That's where they're going to have to answer for it. And you know that they really want the Florida Panthers after what happened last year. The EST keyword, a flyaway keyword coming up in about 10 minutes time right here on the Oil Stream. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn Radio, on iHeart, as well as those watching on YouTube. I think we had a little bit of the issue earlier where Surveyor Brett saying, Maddie, can you explain why at times the iHeart feed fades out of this show and plays Whale and the Wolf and fades back in? Seems to happen a few times a day. Some days are worse than others. That's something I'm trying to figure out. I think it's from our provider that does the audio stream, that for some reason Whale and the Wolf will play just for like a second or two, and then we're back on. We're still on the air, so our streaming button is working. I honestly don't know the exact reason for that, but I am aware of it, and if I could find an answer for that one day, I'll find that answer. But at this flip side, getting a few seconds of Whale and the Wolf, what's wrong with that?
You know what, Matty?
Shirt on too, anyways.
Yeah, that's a great shirt. And the other thing too is like the technical glitches, which are a pain in the ass. They're a far cry from what we had to deal with at the old shop. So I would say that 1 or 2 seconds of Whale and the Wolf every now and then is nowhere near as bad as having the feed cut out by tall buildings or power lines and this and that.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if there's something wrong with our provider for if they're having a little bit of an outage, because we're supposed to be having a replay of the Nielsen show coming up at 1 o'clock, but I don't think that's going to happen because it didn't record it.
Oh, that's great.
It's supposed to do it every day, and for some reason today it hasn't recorded any of our shows. So I don't know what's going to be playing on our stream at 1 o'clock as of right now.
Digital radio, terrestrial radio, there's always something.
Yeah, all I know is we will be live at 6:30. We'll at least have live content at 6:30. Actually, I got to find out from you when you're going to get there because I got to meet you at Hudson's when you first get there too. So.
Oh, I'll probably be there about 5:30.
Beauty. I'll see you about 5:30 then.
Sounds
It's
good.
going to be a fun time.
It's gonna be a good time.
Where do we want to go? Oh, we got to do the EST.
There's some text coming in.
Oh, let's get to those texts, 'cause then we got to get to the parlay for
Yeah.
EST parlay. You got some text up?
I got one from Timber Woodsman.
Okay.
Says, Tommy, any chance you could push Jack into calling the game? Timber Woodsman, good to hear from you. The answer is no. And this comes up every year, asking about Jack doing the TV broadcast. That's not how it works. Jack is the regional play-by-play guy for the Oilers. These are national games. I know John Shorthouse did the Canucks one, but so you got CC doing the Leafs Bruins series, and then this is basically Rogers and Hockey Nights. This is the number 2 series, if you will, in terms of importance to them. Anytime we have McDavid involved, it's heightened importance. So they put their number 2 national team, and that's Harner Ryan and Louis. And there's no getting Jack to do the TV. It's just how it works. Regional guy, Jack. National guy, Harner Ryan. So nothing's changed. Or as Jack put it on his Instagram, you can delay your TV and let it catch up to the radio feed, as he put it, which was interesting on his part to say that.
Yeah, and so like if the Oilers advance, that would mean, and when the Leafs lose, as you worded it, CC and Simpson would do the second round.
Probably.
Because I don't know why they'd put, like, especially because it's probably going to be, or I shouldn't say probably, there's a chance it could be Oilers Canucks.
Yeah.
And if the Leafs are gone, that's going to be the series sports that's going to pump out there.
Exactly.
So we'll have Chris Cuthbert in the next round.
Yeah, it's like the old days when was it Don Whitman would do like the first round, and then Bob Cole would come in later in the first round or in the second round. It's kind of one of those things. So yeah, it's neat. Or like, who did it in 2006? Who started out? Was it like Mark Lee?
Mark Lee would have been the first series with the Red Wings. I don't know how it progressed from there. But then Bob Cole got the final.
Yeah.
He might have done conference finals too.
Yeah. Anyway, that is how it works. That's how it's going to be this year again. You can hear Jack on the radio. Mooner's going to be an analyst, by the way. And he got stopped in there as well. Yeah.
This text coming in 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox. Hey, Maddie and Tommy, there's been a lot of talk about prices of playoff tickets. Do you think there's a realistic chance some of the games don't sell out? I don't.
They're going to sell out.
There's over 1 million people in the city of Edmonton. Somebody's going to pay the price. Somebody's going to grab the money for it. Yep. The worry I have of this text is down the line, how does this catch up? Because
it's going to piss people off.
No, but when does it catch up where people can't actually start paying for it anymore?
Right.
Because I will go to what Huss said to me. Remember at the start of this year when the Jets were having their attendance struggles, he says what happened was pre-COVID, they had a big playoff run. I think they got to the Western Conference Finals that year. Mm-hmm. They kept upping prices, and basically that almost bankrupted the city. Just everyone was paying, everyone was buying them. They spent all their money. Then the reckoning was coming of these people didn't have money to buy tickets for season tickets or regular seats anymore. And and then COVID actually kind of paused that because they got their refund for their season tickets because they weren't going to games. So they got a little extra cash, and it's now just caught up to the city of Winnipeg. If if the Oilers go to the Stanley Cup final, the pricing for the Stanley Cup finals are ridiculous. That's season ticket pricing. That's not secondary market pricing. My question is, when does that eventually catch up to the city and the Oilers, where now people aren't buying the season tickets, people aren't paying for anything else because they spent it all on this run?
I don't think that's going to happen. Not in this city. I think there is probably a breaking point. Like when you talk about that balance and heeding the warning that comes from Winnipeg, that's fair. But Winnipeg, just the financials around Edmonton compared to Winnipeg, I should extend it to Alberta in general. It's a bit of a different economic market. And
there's more money in the city of Edmonton. There's also more people in the city of Edmonton. That naturally helps.
We're up to, I think it's 1.4 million metro. Winnipeg is around 800,000. And then if you want to include Northern Alberta, people in GP, people in Fort Mac, people in Lloyd coming in for games because they do white court. Like people roll in from all over. They drive a couple hours to come to these games. There's a lot of oil money there, a lot of businesses and tech and stuff like that. Yeah, but Matty, at some point you can't push and push and push because the fan base could reach its breaking point, or the money. You think that everybody's got deep pockets and that if one guy's out, then there's going to be another guy or another lady that wants to spend that money. I mean, you can't keep pushing. You got to kind of lay off the gas a little bit if you're the Oilers. So it's a realistic possibility, but I don't think it's anywhere close right now. So yes, it's going to sell out.
Well, but it's just this team's good enough. If the extensions get signed and everything goes right, we have more of these deep playoff runs in our future in the city for a number of years.
Yeah.
Are they going to keep
likely?
Well, are they going to keep adding?
Yes, they'll raise the price
and
until
then there
people
is a
don't
point
buy
where
the tickets.
There will be that point where there is a breaking point. And I'm with you. This season, I don't see that being it.
Yeah.
But it's because of
the
many people paying this year. It's less money that they have for the future. And if anything, you're going to see that more in the regular season, I would suspect. There have been games over the last couple of years where there haven't been sellouts.
That's true.
It's because people go, I'm not going to spend my money on the regular season. I'm going to save my money because when this team's in the playoffs, I want to pay for playoff tickets.
That's fair.
And that's where, to me, where's that full breaking point where more people then say, outside of the season seats, I just can't go to another game. It's too expensive.
Right. What do people always tell us at the end of any Oilers playoff run or whatever, when we see them out in public? They go, my goodness, my body and liver are killing me, and so does my wallet. It is in pain. So yeah, it's like a spring tradition around these parts.
This text coming in from Saskatchewan. Hey guys, I'm from Sask. Lots of Sask people drive in for playoff games. I save my regular season trips now for the playoffs. So just adding to what I'm saying, there's that's where I could see the reckoning coming for this team. I just don't see it in playoffs for probably a number of years, potentially, if at all. But the regular season, are we going to start seeing that? I want to do the cool bet parlay, the EST parlay for tonight's game. I'm going to throw some numbers out there. I want to see what people think. Should we change this in any way? That's a pretty standard one I'm thinking of. But obviously, Oilers win, I'm going to say, in regulation. Not going to take away the overtime. They win in 60 minutes. Leon Draisaitl scores a goal. McDavid, 2+ points. Bouchard with a point.
Okay.
What do people think of that one?
Let's go, Mr. Lean.
Well, I'm wanting to get reaction from our nasties in the nasty chat, as well as 780-218-9999, the Paris Jewelers inbox. Is that a good EST parlay for game one? Or am I missing something? Is there something we need to add in there? Is there something that should be adjusted? But that's what I'm thinking right now. Oilers win in regulation. Draisaitl scores a goal. McDavid, 2+ points. Bouchard, 1 point. Could we go with that one? Could we lock it in? I will wait to hear what people think about that. Also, some people are saying lots of tickets on Ticketmaster still right now as well for tonight's game.
They'll be sold.
They'll be sold. Is that resale, though, or is that actual tickets for the Oilers game? Because you also have to... resale doesn't count for this.
It'll sell. There's going to be... You know what? Someone was just texting their rationale why people complain about being broke, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm not going to read that text. It has a lot to do with impulse and people getting caught up in the emotions and not being smart because they're in the moment. And there's going to be people hovering around the arena that say, I could get a ticket for $150. And instead of watching inside of a bar or at the mosh pit, they're like, I got in at the last second. Those things are going to get snapped up tonight.
There's not a lot of tickets left that aren't that are just standard tickets, not verified resale. There's a lot of verified resale, which naturally is going to be the case. People have tickets. They're going to try to see if they can get a little more cash from that. The normal seats, yeah, there's not too many that are sitting out there. Just some NFL news I quickly want to pass along. The New York Jets are trading Zach Wilson and a 7th to the Broncos in exchange for a 6th. So the Zach Wilson is done with the New York Jets. And funny enough, Big Uke says in the Discord today, they created a cool bet where it's Connor McDavid 2+ points, Evan Bouchard 1+ assists, and Oilers to win in regulation. So something really similar to what I have thinking there.
What you just threw out. Nice.
Wow. Now do I have to
So
build something a little more? I think I have to change it up now. Oh yeah, there's in the Discord. There's the DGen part of it.
Oh,
and Jake from Coolbet is in there all the time.
No way.
And there's a bunch of them that I know that they're discussing stuff. So it's the nasty chat sometimes has, but the Discord also, has a little bit of. And yeah, Jake's in there like all the time apparently, or something, looking at things and talking to the people like Big Uke there.
That's hilarious. Well done. Well done. Nasties. Love it.
Okay, so now I'm gonna have to. I feel like I need to change it up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of the Bouchard and try to figure out what other player prop I'm going to throw in there. I'm going to think about that for a little bit. Portions of this hour of the Oil Stream brought to you by Popeyes. Things just get better at Popeyes as the new crispy chicken buffalo wrap is now available. 2 classic hand-breaded, battered and breaded mild chicken tenders with bold buffalo sauce paired with fresh lettuce, tomato, and mild or spicy mayo wrapped in a soft flour tortilla. Available in-store or delivery. Jason and Leduc jumping in, 780-218-9999. I don't know, Maddie. I could see this game one being low scoring. Score won't jump until LA abandons the 1-3-1. Just overall throughout this series, if the Oilers could get 4 goals, I don't see the Kings or 3 goals. I don't see the Kings getting 4. That's the number I think for the Oilers. They don't need to score a lot of goals, and they should be able to handily win some of these games. Fair?
I think LA has better offense.
Do you?
I think that they're more capable. And I think Arvidsson being healthy, he's missed the last 2 playoff rounds against the Oilers with injury. Trevor Moore continues to be a beast. Quentin Byfield, although I think he's going to line up on the 4th line tonight. He's older, much more mature, had a very strong start to his season. He could be a threat. Which Pierre-Luc Dubois shows up tonight? I don't know. I don't even think the LA Kings know which Pierre-Luc Dubois shows up tonight. But on paper, this is why they went out and made that trade and gave up Velarde and was it Iafallo, is to be able to go shot for shot with the Oilers. And if things do open up, they want to have the ability to light the lamp. And I think that they are better suited on paper, at least, to do that. So I don't know. If you're Edmonton and you get to 3, I don't think it's automatic that you're winning these games, especially with, we don't know what Stu Skinner is going to be. Is he going to be last year's Stu Skinner in the playoffs, or is he going to be the guy that, for the most part this season, was able to make that big save and keep the Oilers in it and handle things when the defense faltered a little bit, because it does have a tendency at times to give up the 10-bell chances. So I think we could see some goals in this series. Matty, I think it's better suited to that with the depth on both sides now. But, it does come down. It was Jason and Leduc saying, if the Kings break away from the 1-3-1, and that's if they are going to go ahead and try to run and gun with the Oil, then I could see some goals.
Do you think they would be willing at all to go something different, or because it's almost like that's almost all they know?
I feel like I thought when Jim Hiller came in that's when they might change their strategy, and they didn't. So I don't think they will, unless they feel or see something with Edmonton's defense that they can continue to expose. If they find something there, or they notice something on Stu Skinner and they really exploit it, then no, I don't see them going away from the 1-3-1. I think that every game we're going to be talking about how responsible they need to play defensively, how they need to take away time and space from McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins and so on and so forth. And I think that they're going to go back to Old Faithful in the 1-3-1, unless they really think that they could exploit and they notice some kind of tendency with either the D or the goaltending from the Oilers.
Pat in the nasty chat, Skinner's carrying them. He'll be the Mike Smith in the playoffs with the emotion and everything. Doughty can't play 40 minutes watching McDavid and Hyman. And I think it's settled with the EST parlay that we'll do for today to try to keep it different from what the Discord did. As Duck Dad is also a Nuge point. So I think I think I'll switch it to just Oilers money line, McDavid 2+ points, Nuge point, Draisaitl a goal. I think that's what we'll have.
Nice.
And I'll throw that. Keep it locked to coolbet.com. What's great about those parlays is always get a little bit boosted, so you can't get it anywhere else. Let's get to the keyword for the EST of Flyway here on the Oil Stream. This is your 13th last chance to qualify. We've got tomorrow, we've got Wednesday, we've got Thursday, full day of qualifying 4 times a day. And then Friday on the morning show, we'll do the grand prize draw. So this is the last chance to qualify for today. And your keyword for today, it's McCrimmon. McCrimmon, as in the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights, is Kelly McCrimmon, McCrimmon. Zach DeCum will get it on the screen momentarily here. I can't see it behind the camera to do that part of it, but he'll get it up there. So if you're on YouTube and you're trying to figure out how to spell it, it's going to be on the screen momentarily here once Zach Tim gets that all figured out. 780-218-9999. Text McCrimmon. Zach Tim will give someone a call in the next 5 minutes. 2 nonstop flights to Vegas, 3 nights accommodations, as well as tickets to Cirque, thanks to our partners FlyYG and the LVCVA. We're almost through 7 weeks of this, Tommy.
I know.
It's flown by.
Hey, I was just thinking about this. Did we use LTIR as a keyword?
Yes, we did.
We did.
So
okay, good.
I didn't actually have it on my first list.
Yep.
And then somehow LTIR was thrown out, and so was Posse for Las Vegas Posse.
Excellent.
And so I went to go add those in because I had a couple duplicates after looking at it at one point. So I did have LTIR in there. I should have saved that. I should have planned it for about now when playoffs was starting.
Right? Hey, Mark Stone, they're not going to limit his minutes. He's going to be on the power play and the PK tonight, so he's ready to go.
He says he's ready to go.
Shocking. Who knew?
Well, the Oilers could. I don't even have to say the Oilers could have done it last year. The Oilers could have done it this year.
Oh, with Evander Kane. Evidently. Again, I think that's Evander just toying and having fun with it.
Actually, to go to the LTIR part of that, I think the best way to solve a sports hernia is with surgery outright.
Yep.
You need a player to have to agree to that one for sure.
That's true.
Like, you actually need Evander Kane. Like, you have to have that conversation going, hey, have the surgery. And him going, yeah, okay, I'll go under the knife for this to happen. You can't just, I don't think you could just get away with the rest one on this one.
Yeah.
So, I know there's a lot of heat towards the Edmonton Oilers right now and Ken Holland for how that was handled.
If the player is telling you he doesn't want to have surgery and he can play through it, what are you going to do?
He can't do anything at that point. And also, let's see how this playoffs plays out. Look, how much praise did we give the Golden Knights at the trade deadline?
A ton.
And how much confidence do people have in the Golden Knights to actually go win it this year?
Not a lot.
Exactly.
They had a rough, actually, they had that bad stretch, and then they picked it up again, and I don't know. I still think that they're going to be a beast. I think we're in for a great series with them in Dallas.
But there's a really good chance they're out first round.
Possibly.
And that's
people fear Dallas.
And that's part of the risk of the LTIR with all of this too, is you have to make the playoffs still. They did, but you also have to be making the playoffs, and you want to be in a comfortable spot with all your chemistry and all that. They're not that. So you could do all you want with the LTIR. I do think that like the Oilers moving forward do need to try this a little bit, but there's always a risk to it. There's no guarantee necessarily. So we'll see what happens tonight. We've got, is it 3 or 4 games in the NHL tonight?
4.
Yes, it's 3 in the NBA. That's what I was looking at. Leafs, Bruins, Islanders, Hurricanes, Golden Knights, Stars, Kings, and the Edmonton Oilers. What is going to be? Is it Stars, Golden Knights that's your top series outside of Oilers to watch? Or does it become Jets, Avs?
Florida, Tampa.
Yeah?
Well, now Jets, Avs has my attention. How could it not? I was watching that game yesterday going, oh my God, what is happening? We knew we were going to be in for a lot of... I watched so much hockey this past weekend, Batty. Like, I watch it like anybody a lot, but I was just like, okay, next game. Okay, when can I go for a bite to eat? Okay, I'll go because there's 10 minutes in between this game and that game, and I can go and grab something really quickly and be back and not miss anything. Like, that's how it's been, and I'm glad that, in the first few days of the playoffs, everything has lived up to expectation, and I hope it just continues for the next 2 weeks and then into the second, third, and final rounds. So it's going to be great.
Game 1 tonight, Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings, the trilogy no one asked for. It is here.
Right.
Well, like Will was saying earlier today, it would have been better at least if the Kings had won one of the series. And it was like...
Why?
Well, like for the rubber match in a sense. Like if you're looking at it objectively from the outside looking in, like this isn't a sexy series. Like if honestly, if we're looking at all 8 matchups, the Oilers are pretty low, I would say, in terms of the actual matchup between the two teams. Yes, you got McDavid, you got Draisaitl. Had the Kings won, let's say the first one, and you get the rubber match, I think the story becomes a little more sexy. There's actually a true rivalry in a sense. Whereas here, it's just like, oh, okay, these two teams won things again, and I think people think the Oilers have just gotten better, and the Kings haven't, and that this one could be done very quickly. There's a lack of sizzle.
Hey, that's okay. Let it fly under the radar. If Edmonton manages to get out of this one relatively healthy and okay, and the other series, they all go 6-7 games and they beat the living snot out of each other, fantastic. I'll trade sizzle for that if I'm a fan of the Oilers.
Oh, absolutely. This is why the path for the Edmonton Oilers really opened up with Vegas going to the Central, because no matter what, any of those 4 teams, they're going to have to go through 2 very tough rounds. And the Oilers have a situation here where they get through the Kings. If we're right about how this series goes, and it's a short series, you're going to have a little bit of a rest between this series and whatever happens between the Preds and the Canucks. Yep. You'll be ready for that one. That's going to be your difficult series for the Edmonton Oilers. But your grind to get to a conference finals, not as much as whatever's coming out of the Central. If the Oilers eventually get there, which should give you an advantage starting that series. Should.
I agree. Should. Underline, bold, italicized.
Zach comes just on the phone with someone, so I'll let you go right away here. GCL Diesel pregame show, Hudson's West Edmonton Mall tonight, 6:30. Any final thoughts heading into this game and before pregame here, Tommy?
Yeah, join us for the show. It's going to be great. If you don't have a spot to watch, I've got a bunch of GCs, and Cass will be on location as well, Matthew, which is going to be great. And then for the love of God, Oilers fans, do not fight with each other, because after game 1 in that loss to LA last year, we literally watched a brawl at the bar that we were doing the show from after game 1, and it was all Oilers fans wearing Oilers jerseys, beating the living snot out of each other because their team lost. Please don't do that tonight, for the love of God.
I still like that they fought with Cass around, because, like, if he got involved, if he had to get involved, like if he had to sort things out, that's like the guy you don't want to be involved with that, and he was right there. Tommy, we'll see you down at Hudson's. Have a great pregame show. We'll talk to you later today.
Sounds good.
And that's Tom Gazzola. He was at the rink getting you set for, he's getting set for the pregame later tonight. I know he sent some video in to Zach to come, who's going to, is that a TikTok? Is that going to be an Insta post? What do you
I got him up on TikTok.
It's on TikTok?
Yeah.
It's good having you and Trevor around to do TikToks for us, because I don't want to do TikToks.
TikToks are fun.
I've never done a TikTok in my life, and I don't plan to start now.
Oh, it's so good. You can edit it so easily through TikTok and everything. They got sounds, they got music. Like it's fun.
Do you know what makes it even easier to edit? You doing it for me. You see how easy it is to edit? It is your first full day as an employee of Edmonton Sports Talk, so congratulations. We got our qualifier for the EST Flyaway. Who's on the line? Mark, congratulations. You are in the mix for this trip to Las Vegas. When was the last time when was the last time you were in Vegas, or would this be your first time going?
No, it'll be, if I win, it'll be the 3rd time. I was just there beginning of March.
Oh, nice. What took you out there in March? Just cuz?
Go see U2.
Oh, so you went to the Sphere. How was U2 at the Sphere?
Amazing.
Yeah, I could imagine what a concert would look like there. If you are the big winner of this trip on Friday, you get 2 months to book, but a year to travel. What would you look at wanting to do with this trip? When would you want to go to Vegas?
Probably, I would like to go see no other game, so maybe next season.
Fair enough. Well, congratulations, Mark. You're in the mix. Keep your phone on Friday morning, because if the boys give you a call, you got to pick up, and then you'll be off to Vegas. So keep your phone on and stay tuned for that.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Congrats. And that's Mark. Next chance to qualify. Tomorrow morning, Nielsen Show. It's EST Glue Guy. It's Lieutenant Eric. It's Zach to come in the morning. I like your guys' keyword tomorrow. I also like mine on the Hangout tomorrow. Yeah, I'm a fan of those. 12 more chances. That's all that's left when it comes to the EST Flyaway keyword right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Dustin Nielsen will be back for the big grand prize draw. He's back in the chair on Thursday, so 2 more days without Dusty here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Coming up next on our audio stream, I don't know. because I don't have the replay right now of the Nielsen show. I'm going to see if I can still try to get it up there for later, maybe starting at 1 o'clock or 1:30. But it won't be there, I think, for the start, so we'll see what's coming. But 6:30, GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, YTT, Dennis Bernstein. He's the LA Kings insider. That's to come here at Edmonton Sports Talk, iHeartRadio. Tune in, as well as for those watching on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in to the Oil Stream today. Enjoy Game 1, as Tommy would say. He didn't say it, I'm actually, surprisingly enough. Be sure to mix in some waters. I'm Matt. Have a great day.